Time now for First Alert Weather with meteorologist Rob Nucatola.
Anyone else need a break from all the election talk? Come on, let's talk weather. I see a very similar setup today to what we had yesterday, though maybe not as warm this afternoon. Maybe we don't get to those record levels. 87 is the record for today. Maybe it's safe. Yesterday we set a record at 88. The day before we tied a record at 88. And I do expect to bring in some cooler air tonight and tomorrow. Not going to be as muggy to start tomorrow morning, and it will be a little bit more breezy. You can see the tropical storm warnings for the east coast of Florida, the tropical storm watches for the west coast, and that includes our area. So we've got some things we're keeping our eyes on as we really begin our discussion of subtropical storm Nicole. That's going to be the big weather player, especially over the next couple of days. But for our area, likely from lunchtime Thursday to maybe lunchtime or a little after that on Friday. Not much going on across our part of the southeast just yet. Higher pressure to our north is in control. It's our big player right now, and it's going to help to steer Nicole over the next 12 to 24 hours. 65 degrees in Tallahassee, 65 degrees in Valdosta, 61 in Thomasville. Those dew point numbers are up over 60, so there is still that muggy factor going on outside. Most of our temperatures between 60 and 65. As a matter of fact, everybody in that little window, so a tight grouping of temperatures, and that breeze right now and will be all day from the north and northeast. And noticeable. Nothing that we're going to call windy just yet, but I think as the day goes on, as tonight turns into tomorrow, that breeze will become more and more noticeable and start to perk up, and that's going to have a lot to do with what's going on with Nicole. And of course, as long as we have that breeze, not too much fog to be concerned with. Now, higher pressure to our north is there. That causes the winds to circulate clockwise. As that happens, what we're going to be doing is helping to steer Nicole a little bit more south and a little bit more west. Now, the longer that's where it is, the more Nicole gets pushed a little bit more south, but I think by tomorrow that's gone and done. Now, as that moves away, it opens the door for this next trough of lower pressure to come in from behind it. What that will do is have the opposite effect. That'll bump this off to the east and help to accelerate it back to the north with counterclockwise winds. So depending on the interplay of higher pressure now and that trough of lower pressure coming, that's going to have a huge impact on how far back across the Florida peninsula the core of Nicole gets. The farther back to the west it gets, the more of our area is in play, and the more the Florida peninsula is in play for some of those bigger rains, which will all be east of the center. So it's a lot going on. But over the next couple of days, here's how I see it shaking out. What we've got here is this core that's really unimpressive for now, and it likely will start to organize a little bit more, maybe get a little bit more impressive as it moves closer to the Florida peninsula. But the big rains are east. So over the next 24 hours, we're going to get a much better handle on how far back to the west that I think this system can get. Once this system gets up against the Florida coast, it's going to get a lot weaker. And as it moves to the north, I don't think we're looking at big time wind around here. I think our hope is we get a nice beneficial couple of inches worth of rain over a 24, maybe 30-hour period. And then by Friday afternoon, it's going away. Now, if it's able to get a little further back to the west and into the Gulf, and it's able to maintain a little bit more intensity, that's a different story. I think that is incredibly unlikely. What's more likely is it gets bumped a little bit more to the east, and that means we end up with a little less rain and wind where we are. But we certainly will watch, and I still do think the chance for a couple inches of rain around here is a real possibility from Thursday at lunchtime to maybe a little after lunch on Friday, and that window may slide a little bit, but that's what we're looking at right now. So hopefully we get the much needed rain and we don't deal with the surge and the winds like they're going to find up and down parts of the east coast of Florida, and that's going to start a little sooner for them, closer to where that core is a little sooner. On the Gulf today, those winds are going to eventually increase from 8 to 18 knots to more like 15 to 25 knots, so getting breezy out there. We'll see the small craft advisories issued by tomorrow. It's 60s this morning and muggy. We'll call it partly cloudy. This afternoon, mid-80s, but not upper 80s. So hopefully we keep the records intact at 87. We don't need any more daytime high records. Tonight it's mid-50s, more breezy, more cloudy, and those breezes increase during the day tomorrow. Cooler air tries to filter in. Notice after the rain chances Thursday, Friday from Nicole, hey, it's going to feel like November. Daytime highs struggling to reach 70 and lows back in the 40s.